we are going to be dismantling this gearbox and probably also changing this gear out for these.
Yeah, this one has a broken tooth, right there.
Yep.
I don't think they can see that probably, but there's a broken tooth right there. So we got another gear set to put in it. And this is the gear set off the other Blackfoot. We're going to compare them. So first thing we need to do is probably clean this off and see if we can see how many teeth are on it. Because we want one that matches, right? Let's see if it's labeled. Can't read that.
So
it says Blackfoot. That didn't help.
You're wondering, these gears are different sizes. Like this is 49 tooth, this is 50 tooth, and I think 52 tooth. So they all vary in size. And you would put this bit inside them to make that gear look like it's on top of it.
So it'll look like this when we're done.
Yeah.
This one's just labeled Blackfoot, so it doesn't say what size it is. We're going to have to compare. So let's look at them. That one's too small, right? And that one's too small. So it must be this one. And if we counted our teeth or lined them up, that look like the right number of teeth? Pretty good, right? So we want that tooth with that gear.
Should we stamp this in yet?
Well, we need to figure out which way it goes. See how this gear looks like this? So I need to figure out which way it's going to go in. Because we want that to stick out the right size, right? So we need to know which way it's going to go. So we need that to stick out the same side, but see this big bushing sticking out here? That's going to make a difference. So that's going to ride in our box, or our gearbox there. So we need to look at it. So these are extra gears. We don't need those. So let's get this apart.
This rather cool set of gears is half metal, half plastic. The metal bits go on the plastic part. And this makes up the differential because one hub spins in reverse and the other hub spins in forward. And if you get one wheel stuck, it should just sit there spinning.
Makes them work independently. Make sure we don't lose these nuts. We'll see if we can get this apart. And we'll look at our gears. Because this one, something in there is not staying tight, right? We checked it earlier and something's not staying tight in here. So we need to figure out that too. We can try all new gears and see if that helps. But when we do this, you hear that noise? Something's not right in there. It shouldn't slip, right? So something's allowing that to slip, and we don't want that. So we're going to figure out what's going on. And we got the other one over here to compare if we need to. If we need to compare them, we can. We're going to try to see. I'm thinking, see this how this gear is thicker? I'm wondering if they did that on purpose to try to take up some of this extra space. There should be a pin in there. Don't see it. Alright, so we already greased all this stuff up. So we have things that could be causing it.
How does a few bevel gears make the differential work?
Because they have to spin all of them together to work. See, when you put this, you take this gear out of here, so you got a bevel gear there. When you turn this gear, they lock up. See, it has to turn both of them because they can't turn independently. The only way bevel gears can turn is opposite each other. See that? So what happens is, as long as it's turning this gear, they'll both turn, right? But as soon as one of these wheels starts to not turn, then it can spin independently like this separately. So it's just the way it works, but this one doesn't work as good as some of them could. But what are you going to do? Here, see? So when this wheel turns, that wheel turns, it can not turn the big gear. It doesn't have to turn the big gear, right? Well, we need to figure out why that's riding up. It's kind of not fitting very tight. This is the one they had glued up, though, remember? They had a bunch of glue and stuff in it.
Yep.
So I think something was probably not right with it to begin with. So let's set this assembly over there, because we got all new gears. We might as well use the all new ones, right? No sense using the old ones, right? Got new gears, should use new ones.
And we're going to have to put on a little bit of this stuff.
Yeah, we'll re-grease it too. Alright, so we got bevel gears and 3 of these little gears. So we need to get some grease in there. Hold on, I'm going to put some grease on the parts where they spin, right? The bearing surfaces, because they spin right here, right? So that's going to spin here. Get this stuff out of there. Get a little bit there, a little bit there. This is where they're going to spin. We want them to spin in there real nice and good. So
the bearing in here is called Babbitt Bearing. It's just a piece of metal with in a piece of metal with a little bit of grease in the middle.
Well, Babbitt is a metal. It's especially poured metal, like really soft metal that doesn't gall and scratch. Ooh, those spin nice. I think those spin better anyway. So we have this problem though. We need to figure out which way this goes together. See, it's got two different sides options. So let me get my phone out and we'll Google it real quick. See, we want to get together the right way. Turn that gear around, it might be too sloppy. We don't want that, right?
So does this gear here turn this gear like this?
Yeah. No, it turns that gear, which turns that gear.
So,
but yeah, you're right. It'll turn the big gear, and then it'll turn that, yeah.
So I think this gear would hook to the pinion gear, which does that gear on the motor. And this gear on here would turn that, kind of like this.
All right. So what I have is a diagram. You see this? I have a diagram of which way these go. So does it say which side it is? I guess we can compare, right? So this is this side that got on the ground here. So they're building it up from this side up. So they're building from this side forward. So we should do this, and we'll compare it.
So why didn't you get a new plastic bit to...
I couldn't find one. I would have, but I couldn't find one. What I'm wondering though is see how deep that gear, that bearing is in there? I'm wondering if that might be some of our problem. If the bearings aren't the right size. So let's see if we can press these out and compare them to the bearings we know are good. I wonder if they just aren't quite the right size bearings. And it's letting everything stay loose. So let's get that popped out of there. Dirty anyway. Really needs cleaned, doesn't it? Needs cleaned. So get that out of there.
The best thing to clean your hands with is more dirt.
Soap.
And then wash them.
Soap. Alright. So let's compare this to the bearings that we know are the right size.
You could also, if they're too dirty and oily, you could rub a little bit of oil dry on them.
I think it's the right size bearing, so it's not the bearing problem. Do a quick measurement on it. You remember how to read this thing?
So there's...
So you start with the numbers there, right? So it's 1 something, and then you go to the dial.
So 1, 51, 52, 53. 57.
156, almost to 157, yeah. I'd say about 156 and a half, right? So 156 and a half. We have other bearings we can compare it with. We have a bushing. We have these new bearings. Same size, right? Alright, so the bearings are the right size. Unless it's missing a bushing in there or something, then it should be the right size. So it's not the bearing. Good idea to get cleaned out anyway, though, right? It's pretty filthy in there. So we'll put the bearing back in. So that'll work. Not the wrong size bearing. Don't drop those now. The little gears will fall out on the floor if you do it over the floor like that. That's why I was doing it over the table. Alright. And we'll use the instructions here.
These gears have splines in them. And these little things here meshes into that spline, and suddenly it's locked up.
Okay.
Probably greasing it with my big, fat, smelly, greasy fingers.
So, this is the one they start with in the picture over here. Which I guess the people, I'm using a picture I looked up on the internet of the gearbox. So
they didn't give us an instruction.
Yeah, we didn't instruction manual. So this says it goes this way. Now, this pinion says it needs the tall pinion on this side, like this. So we'll make sure it spins on the bearing. Does it spin on the bearing? Looks like it. I think it's spin on the bearing. Okay, so that can go there. And then it says after that, we need to put some grease on that, which we can do, I guess. I was going to put it together first, but we can put some grease on it just to make sure, right? Grease on here. If I can get the grease out of here. This tube. Not doing good. Alright, a little grease on there.
Probably ought to order some more.
Yeah, I think we got enough to do it. Got my hand more than that, I think. Now, here's the important part. See this? It says those bevel gears go facing up. Like this. And that's important because I think if we flip that over, that's where we start to run into trouble. And then this case goes this way. Make sure we don't lose our bushings, right? So this goes on here this way. The bushing fell right out. Just as I said, shouldn't lose them. It fell right out, didn't it? So that goes on there like that. That bent bushing goes in there. And that should we got the plastic pushed down. You know what I mean? I pushed this thing out, so that's why it's not laying flat. It's okay. And then this goes in that way. And then after that, we can probably get this to push down a little better. There we go. Get that in there. There we go. Still floaty. Floats quite a bit, doesn't it? I'd like for it not to float so much. Make sure we got our bushing lined up, because that's got a tooth in it, right? To line up. Make sure we got that right.
Maybe we just need to pump it full of air and grease.
I don't think that's going to fix it. It still seems like it's a little sloppy. We'll see what happens. I'm going to go ahead and put the screw in here to hold it somewhat together. It's going to pop back up anyway, but I need something to set it on. Let me see if we can find something to set this on so it doesn't keep pushing the gears apart. Let's see what we got.
This is the gear you said to use, right?
Yeah, we need to know which direction it goes in there first, so that's what we're waiting on. We're trying to wait and see. Make sure we get it going the right direction.
Hey, this smaller gear meshes with the bigger gear.
There we go, like that. That way it doesn't keep popping that bushing out. Come on. Stupid phone went to sleep and my hands are all greasy. Alright. So it says that side goes together like that. We got that part. Now we need to put these gears in here, so we need to figure out which way it goes. What are they doing here? Okay. So this gear goes in there with those bushings. And I'm gonna guess, yeah, it goes this way. So we need our pinion gear to stick out that side. I don't know which way it goes. I guess we'll have to guess, right?
Probably the same way this other one goes.
Well, this one, remember, it went like this. Let's see, the bushings they're in different spots, right? So I'm trying to figure out which way it would stick out least or most. I think this way. See how much longer that gear is than this one? I think that's to accommodate that little bump out. So let's pop this one in. Can find the hole. That one goes in there. And they gave us this little metal ring, which I'm pretty sure holds that on there if we can get in there.
So
We got a grip for it.
Where does this pin go?
That's extra. That's for to rebuild the biddle. I'll show you in a minute. Let's focus on what we're doing, all right?
Wait.
I guess. Doesn't look like we have enough room for this to fit in that groove, but try it. Doesn't look like they left enough room for that snap ring. Oh, I guess it did. You hear it clip? All right, it went. All right, so that holds that in there, like so. Get a little grease on that too. We only need a little drop. It'll spread around as it goes, right? Probably putting way too much on it, really, but it'll be all right. All right. So this is the other. Wait, the other one was supposed to have a spindle. The other one was smooth on our old gears. On our old gears, that one doesn't have an end. You see that? This is flat. And on this one, it's got this giant raised up part. I don't know if that's going to work. We'll have to see. All right, so we put that in there. Stay. Stay. Things falling apart. We need to take this pin out. So we need this pin to come out. And these are bushings, but look how much room they gave us. I wonder if we're supposed to put bearings in there. Because this has little bronze bushings. This one got way bigger holes. I wonder if that's made to fit a bearing. Let's see. Got my hands all greasy. Can you see if that still spins? This one does.
This one does.
Okay. So I think that's supposed to hold bearings now, whereas it had bronze bushings before. That's pretty slick, right? That should make the whole thing go faster. Remember, we're having a problem with it, too much resistance on our motor. That should make the whole thing faster.
And now it's going to go
We need this to go in. Hold on, got a bushing on it. You know, the crappy part is I ordered these bushings for the other Blackfoot, and if I knew we had to take these out of, I wouldn't have had to order bushings, would I? I could have waited till this came in. And this goes like this, 2 ends to hold those on. And that spins like that.
Very slick.
Pretty good, yeah. Not bad. And that pops in here. It goes into that little hole. Losing our screw again. I don't know about that. We'll have to see about that. Wait, no, knock it down. I gotta put this on. We'll have to see if that tightens it up or if it leaves it loose. It seems like that's gonna be too... Maybe it'll work. We'll see. And then this thing goes on. Tie it all together, right? I don't know. Looks like it'll fit, doesn't it? It's gonna fit pretty snug. Look. That might solve our problem right there. We gotta get it straight. We got this a little crooked. Pull it over straight.
And then I'll add the splines.
Well, we ain't got it in there yet. I need to get everything straightened up here still. Let's get one screw in it, and then we'll try to line everything up.
I don't know why, but these RC car parts look weirdly like our tractor PTO.
It's a little bit like a tractor PTO, right? Let's get that in there.
You just have a little bit of a short
Let's see,
stick.
because it doesn't line up yet. So let's see if we can... There we go. Oh my goodness. That's way better, isn't it? Man, I think we might have got her fixed, Big. That sounds pretty slick. All right, still hitting somewhere. Let's see if we can get her bolted together and make sure it's not going to rub anywhere. We ain't got it all bolted together, right?
So this pin would go inside these.
Yep, it goes in that bushing.
And what does it do?
Same thing the bearing does. Keeps it from rubbing metal to metal, or at least it keeps a bronze bushing, because the bronze won't gall together with the steel, so it acts like a bearing. Kind of like that Babbitt bearing you were talking about. It's just a different kind of metal.
It spins pretty good too.
It does. It runs on oil, little oil film. Oh my goodness. You know what? We might have to buy one of these gear sets for the other Blackfoot. Look at that.
That's what I was thinking.
It's this, if you compare it, this is the factory Blackfoot. Hold on to this. Let me get this one back together. If you compare it to the factory Blackfoot gears, look how loud that is. And do that one.
Silence.
I know. I think this is way better. We might have to buy some gears for this one too. We'll see.
I can't stop sweating this thing. I
Yeah,
really
we may have to get some gears for this one too. All right, so I think we got it all together. So let's get some snug up the bolts, torque the bolts down a little bit. That was our problem though. Remember we were trying to run it and it was going and making a bunch of gear noise?
Yep.
Well, we don't want that. So we'll see if this is better, but I think it already sounds better. Already sounds way better.
So, if you blink off a tooth, yeah, this is it.
Oh, that's a lot better, man.
I can feel it missing.
It misses that tooth, right? Because that one tooth is tore up.
Ding.
Well, I'm pretty impressed with that bearing set. We might have to. I was going to rebuild this other rear end with the parts we got. I don't know. I might order a gear set like that with the bearings because that worked really good.
I think this is gonna stop the problem of the motor trying to go like a car with a low battery trying to start.
Because it was going right. So put this back in there. The only thing left now is to make sure this gear works there, but it should because the other one did, right? And we checked the gear; it's the same size. That's pretty slick, man. I like it. So we need to get this back in there. So it goes like this, like that, and then we need to get our screws and bolt it back on. I think we're gonna put the motor on. You know why? It's flopping around on me, and I can't get it to stay as put. So let's go ahead and get the motor on.
Now it's starting to spin badly. Now that I'm going slow, I can kind of feel it starting to go.
Let's get this motor on here.
Stop.
Maybe. Where's the hole at? Try the bottom hole.
If you ever hear a vroom, vroom, vroom when you're riding around your dad's truck, it's probably the bearing going bad.
Yeah, we got a bad wheel bearing, don't we?
It's happening right now in Dad's truck.
We'll have to change that.
In the Subaru, it got super bad. Instead of just a vroom, it went vroom, vroom, vroom. And that was in Ohio. And that was 3 or 4 or something.
Yeah, we drove it to Ohio, and the bearing went out on the highway, didn't it? We still drove it home, though, right? I think we're ready to put the axle back on it. That one's that side, and this one's this side. So we gotta get these to go on here. Shocks are always on the way. That goes on there. This goes in the hole. And in there, like that. And then one of these things here holds it on, right? Get this bolted down. Dump, dump, dump.
Independent suspension. Gotta love it.
Okay,
It also had to go over branches and rocks.
you put our shock back on. These definitely do better than the other RC cars out in our yard, right? Because it's got more ground clearance. We tried to take the little Pajero out there. It got stuck, right? This doesn't get stuck as easy. There
The frog and the grasshopper did it too.
Yeah, they go a little faster though, so you can kind of run over stuff.
But we also have a little bit of a four-wheel drive car, 1/16 scale four-wheel drive car.
We ain't got that one working yet though to try it out, have we? We need to get parts for that still. I think they said they shipped them.
We're waiting on the receiver and we got the servo, but we're waiting on the receiver.
Okay, that can go in there. That can go in there. There we go. Alright, suspension works, right? Now we need to get the wheels back on it, right? Oh, we might put the wrong tire on the wrong side. You let me put the wrong tire on. This tire needs to go on this side. I imagine the RC car doesn't care, but you know. Might as well get them in the right spot, right?
The RC car doesn't have a brain. How can it pop? Well,
It'll run regardless. It just
I guess the receiver is basically its
kind of a brain, yeah.
Because in the robot, that would be its brain box. And no, they do not put actual brains in there.
Alright.
Probably some sort of hard drive. Like the kind in your computer. I think the hard drive is what makes mine go. Sounds like a little mini combine.
Alright, so what I want to check, get these tires on there. Just need to glue that tire, don't we? Tire's spinning on there, we need to glue it. What I want to check.
I thought these are the ones we glued.
No, I don't think we glue these. That's pretty good, right?
Think you should put the tires we glued on to test it?
Well, I was just going to glue these.
Good idea.
That's pretty good, right? Because all we did was pop it off the rim a little bit like this and just add some glue in that little seam right there, right? Just have to wait for it to dry.
So are we going to use something like super glue?
No, we're going to use that blue silicone we used before. Remember we used on the last one? It's just a gasket maker kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't think this is the right glue, but it's just what we're going to use. It's a silicone gasket maker, right?
587.
Yeah. I just have it. And it's blue. I wish it was black. But we already have it. So let's get a piece of paper. Put it on, right? That go and turn it again. We're just going to do this in about 5 or 6 spots, right? And then I'll glue that tire on. When it dries, it won't spin off the rim so much. Or at all, hopefully, right? Excess glue off. We don't need the extra glue, right?
That'll turn our tire blue.
Yeah, look a little blue. Alright, I want to get the back side too, and then we'll get the other side.
Even though Blackfoot looks blue, it's supposed to be black.
Well,
It's in the name,
it
Blackfoot.
it could be any color we want. We can make it any color we want. It's our truck.
I'm thinking since this is probably going to be my truck, I'm probably going to paint it black.
You get the body fixed though, right?
Yep.
Got a lot of damage on that body.
Mostly cracks, but I think
This
maybe Lexon windshield grill and tailgate should fix it.
The original person only had these glued in one spot, which is a little weird to me, but I guess you only need one, right? Seems like you would have done it in a few spots, but... Alright, one. Make sure the tire's all seated. Back in the rim where it goes. That one's done. I think we do the other side too, right?
Probably oughta.
Speed controller mounted back down and started moving around, but I think we're set. Let our tires glue up, right? Once the tires glue up,
It just takes some good old elbow grease. Glue. And now this is really just shaving well.
I think if we let
Real elbow grease.
quit goofing off. I think if we let our tires glue up and get that glue to dry, we'll be all set and ready to try her out. Those gears sound a lot better. What do you think? Better?
Better.
I like those.
The smoother, the better.
Yep, because the idea is to make it run smooth. Stupid battery compartment. You can hear it moving the motor, right? That definitely rolls better, doesn't it?
That's right. I can roll out with hardly any effort at all.
Yep. Still pulling on the motor, but that's all right. I think we're all set. We got a pin over here to hold this tray up. That in there so the stupid thing won't quit falling down on us. We need to still see if we can get a servo to work better. What is this? It's a nail. We don't need that. All right. Next project we need to think about. What are we going to do with this thing?
Probably Lexon, Lexon, Lexon here, Lexon there.
Well, I haven't figured about all the Lexon. That's a lot of Lexon. I think we should use some other kind of plastic, like some ABS or something too, because the Lexon's clear, so it'd be good for windshields and windows. But it's also pretty thick. I don't think I have any thin Lexon. I might have to look.
Maybe some multicolored plastic we made here.
I might have to shop around for some plastic. I don't think we have any we can use for this. Any kind of plastic. And we want it to be tinted, right? You don't want to be able to see through there. You want to like dark tint, so you can't see inside the truck.
Maybe we could do the Lexon here, and then the Lexon could be fixing on this crack hole drilled here.
I don't know. Like I said, all I have is thick Lexon. We'll have to buy some plastic. Or find some around the house so we can recycle. Like some old broken tubs or something. Maybe we can find something like that that'll glue up good. And then we need to glue it on there and get that lined out so that the body's messed up. And then, yeah, we can add a tailgate. It looks like it's screwed in. See the holes? So it looks like that part's screwed in. We could even make something out of wood for that. But I'm not sure how the front would have hooked in.
Glue.
Yeah. I kind of wish I had screw holes in that too so we could glue that in, but
We
we'll
could
have to
get
see.
the tiniest drill bit ever and drill some.
We could. Depends on what we end up with.
I think if we're going to do wood on the back, we can just nail it in.
Well, we should put screws in so you can take it back apart. Alright, wait for our glue dry, we'll be done, right?
Tick, 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 tick.